Something is coming.
I'm just gonna wait for the ad to drop and then I'll know for sure. Okay. Hey everybody, if you're here, you're at the Galactic 3 stream. Hopefully you can hear us.
Let us know if you can't.
Let us know if any of the audio stuff is not working. It says right there in the front there, I'm Ray. I'm hosting the show for Adam, just temporarily. I'm actually the producer on Galactic 3. And across from me is Paul. He's lead designer on Galactic Civilizations 3.
At least until I get fired.
We are checking out... Hey, everybody. We are checking out the... that threw me for a loop. It's Friday, you know? Yeah. It's Friday, everybody. How about we just slow down for a second?
I'm not getting fired.
We slow down, instead of talking about Galactic for a second, we talk about Friday. How happy is everybody out there? Maybe give some shout-outs in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling. All right. Paul has got the game going. Let's see what you were up to. All right, so right now, Paul is playing as the Yor.
Yeah, I wanted to actually just kind of, because the Yor are kind of weird, and I know a lot of people are probably going to be confused. Speaking of which, I've already kind of screwed things up. They don't grow with farms the way normal people do. You have to build them. So, and I think we're I've already decided to change this a little, but we like the idea of you having to build them. So one of the first things I do when I'm playing as Yor is put this assembly project into the queue. Then I'm going to rush me a bunch of factories, which I always do, since I don't need that. And then I'm going to spend all my production on military because, you know, I'm the Yor. The other thing the Yor has that is actually kind of a bummer is although I'm made on a medium map, so hopefully I won't be attacked immediately. They have a trait called unlikable, which allows them to have other cool things, but people generally don't like you, so you have to be nice to them if you want to play diplomatically. If you want to kill them, then the unlikable is fine. So anyways, so I'm going to start playing. Ray can ask questions, and as I run into your specific things, I'll kind of point them out.
Cool. Let's see. We actually have some good questions from the forums. One that I did want to bring up real quick, but we definitely need to look more into because they were asking about. We did change the Bink format to Bink 2, which is not open, but Bink 1 is open, like for modders to use. So the modders were curious if.
That's what's funny is I had no idea that Bink 2 wasn't open.
So we'll have to, as far as I can tell right now, we got to look more into that to see if we can use both of them. But
yeah, I think the problem with Bink 1 is it's way less efficient.
Right.
So whether we can support it for modders is another question. We'll look into it. I worry that if, like on screens that are really Bink intensive, it would cause problems. If it's just for leaders, hopefully we can work something out, because we definitely want people to be able to make their own leaders or their own Binks. So.
Okay, next on the list. I'm checking through here. Oh, are Starship captains still planned? If so, will we see them before release?
They are planned, and actually it's commanders, and which is, you're going to start as a captain. But the...
oh, that screen is nice.
Yeah, we have a lot of neat, pretty art. We're not done by any means, but there's a lot more pretty art. Some of it is maybe a little out of context because we don't have content yet. But it is nice to see something new. Yes, commanders and agents are going to be in the first expansion. So no, they will not be in the base game. Generally the way the commander is going to work is you'll earn a commander by a ship doing particularly neat stuff, and then once you have that commander, you can assign him to a ship, and he will give bonuses, and then he will accrue experience points rather than the ships themselves. Ooh, wow, look at that! I get lots of good planets. Rather than the ships themselves getting points, the captains do, and that way you can move them to better and better ships. and also you can earn more and more commanders, and they become commodores, and they become admirals and fleet admirals and such, and then you get different types of bonuses for them, and you can assign them around. So that'll be fun. It's kind of almost like a ship component that you can pass around. I'm really excited about it, but it's not something we felt we could put in the base game and do justice to. So we're gonna put it in the first expansion.
Okay. That's funny. Ronan the Wizard. Right after that, he mentions that same thing with the Starship Captains. He's like, "Well, I hear they were gonna be in an expansion." It's like, well,
yeah. Actually, they were in the original design 2 years ago, but we pretty much almost immediately decided it was best to push them off, mostly because of how it's going to affect agents. We want to bring in espionage, and we want to do that in a beefier way than we did in Galciv 2, and therefore they kind of belong together. So the whole it was easier just to put them in one thing rather than kind of having a half implemented game mechanic in the first game.
Okay. Actually, Hamel Mac in the chat asks if there'll be any update to the Battle Viewer.
In this build, no. We greatly debated this, and I lost a lot of sleep. We're just not happy with it yet, and I think Brad mentioned this the other day on the sorry, I'm too distracted by this. Synthetic growth is really important for the viewer.
Pro tip.
So we don't want, because Let's Plays and everything, we don't want people seeing it in kind of a half-finished state. Even if the game mechanics of it work, but it doesn't look awesome, it will just breed discontent. So we decided to push it off. Probably January is when it'll be in, and it should be cool. And hopefully by then I can get all the little bells and whistles that I was worried that I wouldn't be able to put in. Oh, here's a cool thing about the Yor is they start with terraforming too. And they're supposed to start with Extreme Worlds, but that also didn't get in, but hopefully will be in again. That'll be a great little bonus for the Yor.
What are you expecting those planets to do to the game?
Well, the primary purpose of Extreme Worlds is to push colonization into the late game because they require techs. Even the Yor will only get like the first 3 levels of the first 3 types of Extreme Worlds that they can colonize on. So there's like really rare types of world, radioactive worlds, toxic worlds that you'll have to research pretty far up the tree to be able to unlock. So that means that you can be 200 turns into a game and then all of a sudden have another expansion phase, or you can buy those techs from somebody else and then and luck out and go get. So you could literally in your home system, or probably not your home system because those are pretty established, but there could be a level 20 toxic world right here and no one could do anything with it. So then it adds this whole dimension later in the game of, well, I'm going to make sure I have a colony ship for there, and I'm going to race up to toxic worlds, and it just makes it a lot more interesting later game, and especially for people who don't want to just fight all the time. I know that's not you, right? But, there are some people.
Yeah, no, I don't understand that. I prefer battle. Let's see. In the chat we have oh, that's right. Creature of Existence has asked in the chat, can the in the ship designer, would there be any way, so let's say they made a medium ship with all the parts on it, would there be any way to swap the medium with the large hull without losing everything on the ship?
There is, in theory, a way. It's not really, because we've had this problem ourselves. It is not in the default thing, but we are probably going to have to give the players a way to do that because it happens. Like, you're literally like, oh, I just started building and it was on a tiny and I forgot that I was building a huge.
Yeah.
And so we actually have a build here where the little spinner just lets you pick the hull size. We'll probably have to do something like that. Unfortunately, that probably won't be in right away because we don't have time yet to start making our second pass in the ship designer. But once we get to it, yeah, we'll make sure that is available. It might be like an advanced tool or something like that, but we will make sure that you can.
Cool. Oh, Maniac says in the chat, will the approval system be substituted with something else for the Yor? I mean, they are machines after all. They don't...
actually, this was also another thing that's debated, is that I was like, well, why do they even have... This is a great improvement.
Wow, look at all the +2s on that.
Well, not only that, that'll go up to +5. Plus, if you look at this tool breakdown, it gives you manufacturing, research, income, and growth. It's like the ultra your improvement. The bad news is you only put one on the planet, so you have. Anyways, I was saying
about approval for the
approval. I was debating that. The problem is there's like this endless road of well, the Yor should behave this differently, and the Yor should behave this different, in this way. But really, the truth comes down to the Yor are sentient beings, so they have approval. Now, what makes them unhappy, is different than what makes the humans unhappy. So that is stuff that we will do. Right now, it all boils down to goods and services, which I don't really like the name of. I'm thinking about changing those to just morale points or something, because then even for the Yor, we can have, an improvement called low maintenance replacement parts, and that makes everybody happy, or something like that, or I don't know. I'm trying to think of some cyber joke, but I can't think of it. And anyway, so we'll probably adjust that, but it's more or less the same thing, is that the Yor are alive, and they do get miserable, and they do, why else do you think they want to kill everybody? So they're on purpose. They have approval. Now, like I said, what their improvements are to approval will probably change. I don't think it's like, oh yeah, the Yor should have entertainment centers, which they currently do, but we'll work on that.
Larson X just stopped by and had asked about the next size up in maps.
I meant to actually have Gigantics in this build, but it just kind of slipped past without going in. So we'll probably put Gigantic into the next build, and maybe put 2 new sizes into the next build. Mm-hmm. We'll see, or it might be Gigantic in Beta 3 and Insane or whatever it is in Beta 4. So, I mean in Beta 5. But yeah, they'll be coming out. We just slipped one. Huge is pretty big. One of the things that I've already changed is we've kind of increased the density internally, and I almost wish we could get into the patch where planets are a little closer together, and that makes a big difference. So that will be in the next beta, and I think people will like that. It'll make the maps all feel a little bit bigger.
Very cool. Let's see. Actually, I had one.
Oh, I should have moved that down one tile. I could have got this resource. Dummy.
Oh, we actually this is a interesting one, Paul, because of one of the questions is when will the pirates come into play?
Oh, well, ironically, they're kind of in now, but they have no AI, so they sit there and be stupid. The pirates will probably show up in the custom faction build, which I guess is 4. So the next few builds, we'll start seeing pirates and custom factions and all that stuff. But the pirates really need their own special AI to behave, because they don't have worlds and they do things differently. They're really just there to make your life hard. So we kind of focus on them a little bit differently. But yeah, right now, if you defeat a race or if they surrender, a lot of like 30% of them will go pirate, and then they just sit there. So you could just go up and kill them. So if you see that, that is a bug. It's not a feature. Although I guess easy killing pirates, it could be considered a feature.
Oh, that's really nice. Yo Pasp in the chat actually just stopped by and said, "Wow, this is looking really good." So, thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Okay. Creature of Existence asks, how does the approval system work with populations that are growing and becoming very large?
Okay, so here's something that has changed drastically that is going to kind of shake people up who have been playing for a while. Currently, man, I need these ships faster. This is lame. I'm going to go back to all military spend. No, I can't go back to all military spend either. I won't have any people. Oh, being yours. The crazy thing about the Yor, not that I will answer your question. The crazy thing about the Yor is that at the beginning, it's really hard to grow. Late game, it's amazingly easy. And that's on purpose. We want you to essentially, if you let the Yor reach a certain saturation level, then they're kind of unstoppable, at least if the player is smart. So that's that's something we're actually doing on purpose. I need a symbol. Okay, so I said I was going to answer the question, but then I forgot what it was.
It was in reference to how does the approval system work with the populate? Yeah.
The way approval works, two things have changed. We now have diminishing returns on population. So building out just endless people no longer is actually the best way to do it. You can still do it. If you have a planet that's got 1 billion people on it, well, you shouldn't be able to get that high. But, you can get 300 billion people on a planet. And in theory, that's good because you then get a bunch of points. But nowadays, there's now a diminishing return on people. So what in beta 2 and beta 1, you would get 3 billion production points for 3 billion people. Let's just call it 300. So 300 points for 300 population. Now what will happen is it starts to curve. I actually posted a thing with a picture of the curve. It starts to curve around 10, and you start getting less and less and less and less. So, like in the example I posted, it's like 80. 80. You get about, for like 120 population, you can get about 80, and then it gets worse and worse and worse and worse from there. And that curve might even get harsher as we play and test. And the reason we do that is because now it is actually more efficient for you to start putting factories and research centers and other things on there that will boost your production. So now having 50 people and one nice factory or one big factory or two factories that are like giving you 100% bonus will actually give you 200 production, or at least 200 manufacturing. Whereas before, you'd be getting that, 300 plus 200. So you would end up with these really ridiculous, unbalanceable numbers. So that is why we changed the way production is done. So now factories and labs and all those things are much more valuable. So once you balance that, you'll find out that around, if you have a level 20 planet or something like that, maybe 50 billion people would be crazy high. Whereas in beta 2, people were, having planets with 300, billion people. So if you have 50 billion people, you can then put a couple entertainment centers on there, which is you have to do. Now, right now, they're a little underpowered, but then you could put star bases around that give entertainment, give goods and services. That'll take care of it. It's actually pretty easy right now to keep everybody happy, even with a high approval. The problem is people just don't feel like they ever had to before because, spending changed so much. So give it a little time to play with how it works now, and I think you'll be pleased. It might be different, and you won't be able to exploit it as much, so that sometimes then isn't as fun. But it should be a much more interesting level of gameplay. It will also make the game not break so quickly, if you know how to set up the perfect death spiral of star bases or whatever and get, I've seen planets with 30,000 production points, and that should in theory I don't want to say it's impossible because somebody's going to figure out how to do it. That should be much harder to do in the current build.
And we have, I'm scrolling through the chat here. Let's see.
Whoa. Right on the money. You got to fix that.
Uh-oh. Given that population is on a curve now, is it possible to get projected values on the planet screen displayed when we're trying to choose what to build?
I would like to say it is possible. We will see. The problem is that, like, okay, so here's what happens. Is I go, I'm going to build a new factory on here. So I put a manufacturing your, which probably name is changing, and it now previews. It already does tell you I'm getting 5%, but what he wants to know is, if I build this and I put this here and I'm getting this, I'm getting 35% or whatever to manufacturing, or 10% to 15% to manufacturing. Should my manufacturing thing kind of flash, up 15, so I know what it would be. The problem with that is, okay, that if we do that, which I'd like to do, now you walk away and that thing starts upgrading when you do your factory, you'll never really know. So we definitely need better feedback on that. And the answer is yes, there'll be some of that, but it's not going to be as great a feature as you would think it would be because of just the way the game plays out. Hey, look at this guy. I need Universal Translator, which I hate to have to stop and get, but let's do it.
Back on the forums, actually, we had a question. Can we get cloaked ships that look all shimmery when they cloak?
We actually, in my original game design, I had cloaked ships. They're kind of a nightmare for the AI, and the fact that they're all shimmery is literally lets the human who is seeing them with their eyes kind of cheat. That, or we make them truly invisible, in which case you don't want them
to be truly
because they will kill you and you will be very mad.
Yeah.
So I actually cut cloaking at least for this build at least for the initial build until I can kind of crack that nut and figure out how to make it fun. It's not that it's not cool. It's that if it gets tedious and hard, then that's a big problem. This is one of our new pictures.
Yeah, a lot of that's what people are actually saying in the chat was like, slow down on those screens because they were just excited to.
I see these things all the time, so I crank through them.
Yeah.
I've got some spacing issues still. I thought I fixed all those. Yeah.
So there may be some minor text clipping. You're saying like
no, the clipping is fine. The problem is that like if the lines are too long, the little bonus thing wraps into it.
Yeah.
So there's two solutions to that: is make the thing bigger, which I don't like doing because then that text area gets bigger and it hides more of the picture.
Right.
The other thing is to make those descriptions shorter. So these are the joys of my life and what I get to figure out what to do about it.
Okay. Well, it's kind of a neat side idea. Creature of Existence says, why not give cloak to trade freighters as a way to defend themselves from hostile ships?
Well, what we do with that is there's some text that just make freighters impossible to attack. So you could just say, no one is allowed to. And then we also are going to have, and they're not in yet, we're going to actually have trade escorts that will defend your freighters. The Iridium actually have like escorts that are. The Iridium actually get like free ones, so there's a lot of fun stuff with that we could do with freighters to make them less vulnerable. But yeah, no, cloaking them would be kind of weird. We could since we don't have the mini freighters anymore. You can just pretend they're there, but they're all cloaked. So feature added.
Feature added. Check. Larson X adds into the chat. There's It makes a comment that there's much better black hole and planet distribution now.
Yeah, and we're not done yet. It is a little better. Like I said, the planet, I made a change, and this is actually, I'll tell you an embarrassing fun fact, is it's entirely my fault. Um, there is a buffer between planets. So you'll see here, here's a solar system, and here's a solar system. Well, there's like a, in XML, there's determined like how much space should be the minimum between. Well, kept changing this to be smaller and smaller. Well, and I was making it negative, but I didn't realize the tag was reduce instead of add, so I should have been making them positive. So, and then on top of that, all of my XML, I had these empty rows, and I thought they weren't counted, but they were. So everything is actually further apart than it should be, and I fixed that, and it makes such a difference. And I'm so mad that I fixed it like right before this build went out, because we didn't want to risk making any changes. So it'll have to wait till the next one, but you know, hopefully people will appreciate it when it does happen.
Okay, there's actually just a comment on, they've been playing the beta, and they feel that the techs should cost around 50 to 100% more, at least to buy them from the AI.
Yes.
They seem
Yes,
to be
for
pretty
sure.
cheap.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, the AI is not valuing the text right now correctly. So, yeah, you can exploit the poor AI pretty fiercely right now. That's part of the reason why that isn't really been addressed, is because it's part of the overall AI personality. And we can just go in and throw in some weight, or, you know, plus 50 for if AI, but we'd rather fix it right. And I don't mind people being able to kind of exploit the AI right now, because it just speeds the game up.
Okay. This is interesting. It's kind of a two-parter. They had mentioned that it kind of seemed unrealistic to allow a ship upgrade in one turn to a ship that is a long ways from colony. And they had actually made kind of like a comment that they had thought the upgrade would only be available like in the shipyard.
You know, we've actually toyed with that idea, making it so you had to go back to the shipyard. What we do instead is we just make you have you have to pay more if it's further away. The problem is right now it's just not valued high enough. So we'll be adjusting that. I think I literally have it like for every 6 tiles outside of the area, it starts costing more, and that's just not enough. I do really, now that we have shipyards, I kind of really love the idea of having you have to go back, or at least allowing shipyards to sorry, I need to increase approval because the UR have horrible approval right now. You know, having them go back to get repaired quicker or whatever. But when I've played with that, it just feels like micromanagement. You know, it's like, oh no, I have to get back to a shipyard. But I haven't totally thrown out the idea. But right now, we're mostly just going to make it more expensive to upgrade far out. I would say right now, in general, all upgrading is too cheap. So, you know, that's a balance issue. And I don't want to change whole game dynamics over, you know, the fact that I need to add a ×5 to something. So
We have back a question on the forums actually about, let's see. Oh, they'd mentioned that they invaded an AI planet, and all the infrastructure was intact after they had moved in. Does this mean that one cannot raid a planet with no intention of landing, just to destroy infrastructure and population?
well, right now invasion will have some more bells and whistles once it gets in. But right now, when you're invading, there is a chance of improvements being destroyed. It depends on the type of invasion, but right now everybody just does the safest type of invasion, which is why you're not seeing any damage. And eventually there'll be improvements that there'll be ways to invade that literally just kill everyone on the planet and destroy everything on it. So, you know, good times. But, oh, this is a neat new feature. So you can just do this and it'll say, I need $99 or 99 gold to make this deal work. So which is I was a little negative about adding that, but now that I have it, I love it.
Yeah, there was actually I was reading that this morning when I was going through the forums. There was feedback about how they'd really enjoyed it. It just seems smoother and easier.
Yeah, you know what's funny is because I'm like, well, isn't that cheating? It's just telling you, but you know, you're making all these. You don't care about the money. You care about the things you're buying. You know, you're like, I want. What can I get from this guy?
Yeah.
This is literally how your brain works. What can I get from this guy? Well, I might be able to get defense systems. Ooh, I can. I could get weapon systems. Okay, yeah, awesome. Can I get militarization? Ooh, wow, what more? Manufacturing? No. Okay, so I take manufacturing out and say, well, how about some money? Oh, I'll give you 98. Boom. Now you feel like, I got the best deal I can. So, yeah, it's actually really nice. I'm very happy with that, even though it was one of those things that I didn't really specifically ask for, and Derek was really passionate about. And now I'm like, damn, why did I think that was a bad idea? What I was going to have it do was when you spun up, it would turn green when you hit the. So all I'm doing is the exact same thing, but making the player do it, and that's no fun. So I think this worked out really well.
Cool.
And now, unfortunately, it just makes it that much easier to exploit the player.
Just standing there staring at you helpless right now.
Orbital manufacturing is worth its weight in gold. Oh, and they will give you. Let's see how much. Oh, look, he only wants 1 gold. So interstellar travel is almost worth it. Look at that. Awesome. See? Never hurts to ask. How about if I buy you a beer?
That +1.
Steak.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and for some of the people in the chat, we are playing the latest build that is out as of yesterday. So
Yes.
we are playing what you are playing. Just kind of going through right now and talking about the latest additions.
And I am exploiting people.
Yes.
Although what's funny is I think everybody doesn't like me much, so I'm surprised that they're being as nice to me. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, the Kryn like me. I need to research some things.
Yeah, the Kryn seem to be fine.
Yeah. The aliens will declare war on the Yor a little bit earlier than everybody else because they're unlikable unless you do something about it.
Right.
And usually it'll be the Dredgen because they're war crazy.
Nothing wrong with that. I think that's fine.
Or it'll be Ray if you're playing multiplayer.
That's right. Okay, there's a comment too about is the combat viewer expected to be in the next beta release?
Yes. That's a matter of fact. That's why. What we're actually going to probably end up doing, I almost feel like internally in my brain, I call the next beta 3.5 because it's really the stuff that we weren't confident in putting in to this build, but we had so much stuff that it was worth putting out a build. But it's like, well, but Extreme Planets aren't quite done, and the combat viewer isn't quite done. Let's push them back into the next build. Here's another good picture. Oh, hey. +1 diplomacy to everybody. That will prove to
That
be
works out.
very useful for me.
That works out very well.
Galactic Games voted, yes, vote for me. Nobody voted for me. Hence the unlikable part. So the Galactic Games Fund. Oh, you know what? I think that diplomacy event doesn't take place till the next turn. But let's see. Oh, no. See, everybody still hates me. Except for the Kryn. I am not doing so well. I'd like to blame it on the fact that I'm talking, but... Oh, and I think we showed this last week, but this is really nice. So I can go through here and say, you know, there's these other planets out of my range. Is it worth getting them? Like, see here, this Immortal, with it spelled weird, is only 15% decay distance. So I think it's worth for me to grab that one. But this one is 47. So that 47 is not really worth doing because it will... Yeah, see, these two are pretty close to each other. Now I could even lower that decay distance by moving this starport over here. So now I could probably get both of these with 0 decay, so that'll be very helpful. Matter of fact, this one I might be able to get something tolerable from that other planet.
Peregrine asks in the chat, what are the factors that determine the number of UP votes?
Well, right now it's still pretty simple, but it mostly boils down to the AI's personality traits, which they have assorted ones, and in the future it will also have to do with their racial traits. So even like custom races will vote differently based on how you adjusted their racial traits. Then it also has to do with their attitude towards you. So as you are playing the game, if you piss them off, they'll vote against you, or they'll vote. They won't like you. I thought somebody was coming in.
No, everything seems to be fine.
Yeah, you were being swatted. Okay. So,
We are streaming, so
yeah, well, no, I heard about that and it made me paranoid. Please, nobody swat us. We're small. Nobody. There's like 8 people watching. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so personally, but then also your attitude towards them, so that's how they vote, and also their population. Primarily, if it's something that will benefit a race, and unless they love you or hate that thing, they will vote for it for themselves. So that is where you end up with this whole mechanic of where, how much do you like that and how much do you like me? And then do you just hate fried food? I'm not going to vote for the everyone should have fried food resolution. So those are all things that, and like I said, it's pretty silly now, but we are building more and more infrastructure to that. So by the time we ship, the AI decisions should be a lot more interesting. We might even be able to come up with like a little bit of a breakdown per vote. I think that would be cool. Like, so say if after the resolution passed, when it says A, B, B, C, you should be able to mouse over them and it'll say, here's why this guy voted this way, and here's why this. So that is probably not a feature coming right away, but it's something that we want to get in as the AI gets smarter.
okay. Actually, Gilmoy had asked in the chat. They were curious too, just not the UP voting factors, just the quantity of votes.
Well, that's what determines who wins, but that doesn't determine how they vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
So quantity of votes is a big deal. It's a very big deal, but it doesn't. You can have, but since a lot of these votes, especially once minors are in the UP, you're going to have a lot of races that have no chance of winning the vote for themselves, that will throw their vote behind you or behind somebody they like, and then all of a sudden everything's going to go crazy. Right now, unfortunately, in the UP of like 2 people, it's not, if you're only playing against 1 or 2 races, it's not very interesting because they all vote for themselves or they vote against you, and that's, or they vote for you if they really like you. I want to see what I got here. Yeah. green. Love it. Sorry, I was too excited by my awesome Starbase placement. So no, the votes are by majority, by the number of votes. But then again, even those things will eventually be tweakable by UP resolutions and stuff like that. There's one that like gives you veto power, and stuff like that. So lots of fun things moving forward. I always say that though. So.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to see. So are the people in the chat. Actually, yep. There was a comment about if there be a hot fix for any of the clipping and the text bubbles and the gray ideology trees. It seems like
ideology trees are gray.
Yeah, it seems after some time, ideology turns grayish white permanently.
Well, hey, what's this? There's a frame missing too. Oh my God, did I check it? Anyways,
Well, you had mentioned too with the ideology tree that
the ideology tree is being redone.
It needs
completely,
to be redone.
So
yeah.
We probably won't bother hot patching that unless there is literally like I have not seen the white ideology tree.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a reproducible or a game save that does that, if you could please send it in, we can take a look at it. The text clipping in the tooltip, I've heard about this, but I haven't actually seen it. And I would also love any sort of reproducible. That almost sounds like it's a bad data, like maybe. So this is the build, right? This is the build they have?
Yes.
So let's do some debug. Oh, I don't want to hit new game. I'll lose my game.
You can always hit. continues
well,
right
no,
there.
I wanted to. Oh, I know where there's some tooltips. So
Okay.
okay, so this tooltip.
Yeah, checking in here. I'd
Yeah, see,
seen.
these aren't clipping.
Yeah. Well,
So
that is
I would
interesting.
have to see the clipping. Yeah, that should not be happening.
And-
This, like little weird glitchy thing like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that we're working on.
Mhm.
I don't think it's worthy of a hot fix. Now that said, if your tooltips are broken all the time, that is a problem. Please send in a ticket because that's not acceptable.
Yeah, we want to get that fixed. Okay. Oh, and then Zingo was the one who'd mentioned that. They had also said that it was on a massive map and around 200 or 300 turns.
Oh,
That's when they had turned all white. That's when the ideology had turned all white. So, yeah. Seemed to be quite a few turns reported out there.
Map? You mean a huge?
Yeah, that must be.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking about when they had said it. But
Okay, well that definitely shouldn't happen. If you have that game and if you save it and they're still white, please let us know. That is something we definitely would like to track down.
the research, Matrix Hacker 4 mentioned the research screen seems to have the most tooltip issues for me. So maybe there's something kind of going on there.
The research screen or the tree? Oh, I just voted yes for that. Oh, good.
Yeah.
They voted it down.
They just said the screen, but they may be able to confirm that in a
Well,
second.
there's this screen.
Yeah.
This is a little excessive in the tooltips. It's one of the things we're redesigning this screen too, but not so much for this, but to make it prettier. Yeah, I don't see anything in this build, but that doesn't mean that he's not getting it. So, yeah, any examples you could give us? I know that there is some optimization we can do to tooltips to make them a little quicker. We just haven't gotten to it yet. But yeah, if you have a reproducible example, please let us know so we can track that down.
Okay. Oh, actually, a while ago there was a question, and I thought this was pretty neat. They had mentioned, will the races have any like predispositions to any of the other AI factions? So like
Yes.
right away, the Drengen are really not too comfortable with the Terran, or
Well, no, actually, funny thing is, well, aside from the fact, yes, at this point the Drengen are not happy with the Terran, but
Right.
the Drengen and the Terran actually get along okay when left alone because they're both kind of dicks. The Drengen are just more aggressive. But yeah, like the Drengen and a lot of the races that the Drengen have big grudges with are now dead. So, but like the Altarians and the Terrans tend to have like a certain predisposition to trust each other. Yes, there is definitely personality. So every race has a least favorite race and a favorite race, and like we're gonna actually have the ability for them to like hold grudges and stuff. So yes, we'll be definitely tweaking that type of stuff. And at some point, we hopefully will be able to even make that available to custom factions. So people will be able to go a little crazy with that.
I'm trying to see in the chat. It looks like Imagine it mentions they didn't say exactly, but what they were trying to say was, I think they're asking if there'll be anything like Stargates, jump gates, like whatever you want to call them.
I actually do have a design. Oh, hey, look, that bug's still there. Not in the base game though. I do have some ideas for hypergates, which is in the lore is what originally connected. Sorry, the galaxy before the Terrans created hyperdrive, and so I've this idea to bring back hypergates, and the way they would work is you'd build them like a starbase, and you would have to take them to the place you're going. I'm even thinking about making them so you have to build them on a black hole event horizon, and you build it here. And then you build another one here, and now you can go into one and come out the other, or any other one. So the idea, and that way it makes it a little easier for the AI to pathfind between them. They kind of create waypoints. Um, the truth is that hyper drives and stuff, hyper gates or stargates are really hard on the AI. So it's something we are reluctant to do. I have a idea for a bunch of Starbase expansions, and that would be one of them, or that would go in with that. So we'll see, but no, not in the base game. But it is something we're kicking around once we can kind of make sure it's fun. Doodah. Anybody see the Stephen Colbert interview, Smog?
You'd mentioned that before we started the stream.
I just watched it before we came up here. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Don't leave the stream, but right after the stream.
Don't leave now. Wait for
awesome.
that.
It's pretty awesome.
There was actually some questions about the espionage. Let's see. Oh, they're just really excited about the Creature of Existence. Really excited about the espionage, and just was curious if could you use agents to hide information about trade, for example?
Well, like I said, that's going to be an expansion, but we do have ideas. I was thinking that you essentially you put an agent on a trade route, and it adds a certain feature to that trade route. It might hide the trade route, might make it so that you can trade with. You can actually I put an agent on this trade route, and it lowers the influence of the race I'm trading with, or something, so that you can kind of use it as a backdoor to prep people for. And of course, there's always going to be the kind of the traditional. You put an agent on their planet, and you can, take out one of their factories, and then there's going to be counter agents that will take those guys out. But I want to have a bunch of different. They're kind of like commanders are going to give ships bonuses. Agents are going to give ships, fleets, planets, whatever, negatives, and you'll be able to kind of play chess with each other on that level.
All right, we're actually down to the last couple minutes of the stream. Please post your questions here. We want to get the last couple before we head out here. Get back to fixing all those awesome bugs that have been reported, right, Paul?
Yeah, well. Oh, and okay, here's a little I know a couple people on the forums are having ships that aren't showing up. We're looking into fixing that. If your ships are missing or something is wrong with them, that is not by design. We want all the ships to work, so don't delete them.
Yeah.
Just let us fix it. If you want to back them up to be safe or whatever. So don't feel like we ruined your ships. I mean, I'm not saying that at some point before the final build we might change something that might cause some problems to your ships, but it is certainly not something we want to do. We want your ships. And as a matter of fact, one of the directives was from Beta 1, or was it Beta 2? It was Beta 1. From Beta 1 forward, the ship designer isn't supposed to break. So if it is breaking, we're fixing it. Yeah, the only thing that can cause problems that you might run into is if you're making a lot of custom parts. If you delete a part by accident, or if you upgrade and a part gets removed or something, that can cause a problem. If I, Paul Boyer, change the data of a thing, which may or may not have happened, that will cause, and all of a sudden it's called something else. In the current build, what will happen is the ship will fail to load and it'll be invisible. This is actually half speculation. We don't have it entirely worked out yet. But what we're going to do is fix it so that it'll just go, because I need the ability. I'm not going to say that I'm never going to do this. I need the ability to change what components do, or even the names of components. So what we'll end up doing is, if something fails, that part will just disappear off the ship. So your ship will still load, and if there was something connected to it, you might lose that too, but you'll be able to rebuild the ship. That's kind of a side effect of being in the beta. But we definitely don't want, and we're going to avoid that at all costs, at all as possible. So hang on, and we're gonna try and fix that. And I know that not everybody is a major ship designer, but the people who do it, and I'm one of those people, do it a lot. And there's nothing worse than having your ship designs break. So we're making sure that doesn't happen as much as possible. Did we get any last questions?
Actually, there was one about to see what your opinion was on using a cargo ship covered in sensors instead of utilizing constructors on star-based sensors.
Standard.
Yeah.
That is a standard exploit. Yes. No. I'm totally fine with that. It sometimes is awesome. I actually tend to make a ship called like the Cheese Scout, that is essentially a cargo ship covered in sensors and life support and engines, and just send it out to Auto Explorer. Can get kind of expensive, but that's why we have a ship designer, is so that you can come up with these little combos. It's hard for me as somebody who does make these weird little things, not to just add them into the game. It's like, well, everybody should have a cheese scout or a cheese constructor. No, that's the gameplay. That's for you to figure out, and that's part of the joy that is Galactic. Now that said, it's a giant ship. Probably cost you more than building a regular scout, but it will be very efficient. And then if it gets attacked, it'll die. So that's generally bad too. And now I just spent a bunch of money putting a ton of life support and a bunch of stuff on this, and all of a sudden it blows up. So it's not like there's no penalty, there's no danger to doing it. But yes, have fun. Those are the type of combos that the advanced players will learn to love and have their own little stock of.
We actually have just a couple quick questions. They
speed round.
Read pretty quick to me, anyways. Yeah, for the speed round. What are your thoughts on a touch interface?
Well, right now the game actually will work on a touch interface. It just doesn't work perfectly. There's all kinds of little issues, like right-clicking is hard because you have to hold your finger down a little bit. Entering combo boxes and stuff is on newer systems, it'll automatically pull up a keyboard, so that's cool. But some of the older ones, it won't. I have a Lenovo Yoga that I play it on, and every once in a while I test it in touch mode to make sure it works. At some point, we will probably do a little optimization pass on it. We're not going to focus on touch because honestly, we don't think that the audience is that big, but we certainly want to make sure that people can do it. So,
okay. And then there was actually some comments about keyboard shortcuts. Would that be something to look forward to
in general?
Just in general, while playing the game.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot. As a matter of fact, we already have a. Hey, did I lock up? Hey, I locked up. That's uncool. Anyways, well, I guess we're almost done anyways.
Yeah.
So, yes, we have a keyboard mapping thing already in. So it's kind of the shortcuts are kind of a polish phase thing where we're going to go through and go, what is the best use of all these keys and what do people need to be able to do? So it's not that we don't plan on doing them. It's just that they're kind of a wait till the features are in before we start hooking up stuff to do. Here's my mouse.
Okay, awesome.
Are we now violating Twitch
I think now
because the game isn't actually playing?
I think that now is the perfect time to switch back to our lovely faces. All right. Hi, everybody. Just want to say thank you all for stopping by and checking out the game. Hope you enjoyed that Spitfire round of all the quick questions. If you have any more questions, please feel free to stop by the forums, our Galciv forums. And if you have any bugs, please post them in the Galciv support forums. I know I put the link up there.
Get us on Steam. I tend to try and watch the Steam chat, especially the beta one. But your best bet is to go to Galciv 3 because there's a lot of users there who will answer your questions even when we don't. So that's very helpful.
Yep. And also, check out our Facebook, Twitter. We're all out there. We're everywhere. Stardock is everywhere, especially for Galciv. And the game, of course, is available right now on Steam. And let's see, is there anything else we missed, Paul? I don't think so.
Have fun. Merry Christmas.
Yes.
I guess we will be here next week.
I'm not sure if we'll do Galciv next Friday.
Oh, it's the Christmas party.
So,
yeah, we might not be here next week. I'll have to ask Adam. If we are not here, Merry Christmas. I'm going to try and find some time to do a Let's Play of Beta 3 so people can kind of figure out how to do the Yor. So hope maybe we'll put that up on Friday, even if we're not here. So if not, have a great New Year, and we'll all be working hard into next year.
Yeah, we'll make sure Adam confirms on the forums if we'll be up for next week. But yep. Thanks again for
We'll
stopping
just
by.
put the camera up at the Christmas party, and everybody
I
can
think
watch
that's
us
okay.
drink.
Yeah, they can watch us.
Actually, I think that's a violation of Twitch's
that
rules
might
and
be a
services.
violation.
All right.
All right, well, cool. Everybody, have a safe holiday. Have a safe holiday and Happy New Year. And we will catch you guys then.
Adios.